In April of 2022, I reported for MRC-TV on the leftist push for the European Union's Digital Services Act, the DSA, a soft-titled censorship move that well-known privacy and speech hypocrite Hillary Clinton praised at the time, and which recently, as EU so-called law, was referenced to threaten Elon Musk over his interview with Donald Trump, and which runs parallel to the machinations of the C2PA, the Coalition for Content Provenance and Authentication, an international intercorporate group that plans to monitor, trace, and control all content put online via authentication code that eventually will be built into all computers at the chip level. And now, guess what? There's another piece, another brick in the censorship wall. Thanks to Microsoft and their latest update. Hi everyone, I'm Gardner Goldsmith for MRC-TV, and here's the story. Jacob W. Thompson reports for Wine Press News that Microsoft's latest update to its cloud-based services and Windows 365 is moving in the same direction as all of the censorship moves that I mentioned earlier. And it will include censorship triggers for what the corporate heads nebulously describe as hateful speech, and for the always tricky sharing of copyrighted material. He notes, quote, tech titan Microsoft recently updated its services agreement on July 30th that will allow the company to target and remove content across its cloud-based services that promotes loosely defined hate speech and sharing of unauthorized copyrighted material. This change affects the company's widely used Office 365 suite, which comes with programs such as Outlook, OneDrive, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, SharePoint, and Microsoft Teams. The Financial Post reported in 2021 that over 1 billion people use a Microsoft Office product or service. According to a fiscal year 2022 quarter 3 report, Office 365 has roughly 345 million paid seats. End quote. Of course, since hate speech is a clunky term that censorious people use to shut up other people, the definition of it is nebulous. In this case, it will be defined by the corporation and likely will morph and change based on the political agendas of the corporate heads. Thompson explains that the updated Microsoft Services Agreement goes into effect on September 30th, and under its Code of Conduct, Microsoft lists a number of prohibited usages of their software. Those include handling pornography, so-called offensive language, so-called graphic violence, and so-called hate speech, and the unauthorized exchange of copyrighted material. And that all comes, of course, with heavy implications. Not only does it imply that Microsoft AI will be scanning the material you connect to the so-called cloud and or which you might use within Microsoft 365, its outward expression will begin to shape conversations on the internet, suppressing terms and ideas that, again, the minds at Microsoft don't like. And Thompson has dug into Microsoft documents to find out how it already has cited certain kinds of expression as problematic. Quote, Microsoft does not readily define what it means by hate speech, but several blog posts the company has made in the past present what this might actually entail. For example, in 2016, the company uploaded a post that provided new resources to report hate speech, request content reinstatement, which include web forms and easier methods to report alleged crimes. Microsoft said, "We also aim to foster safety and civility on our services. Therefore, we've never, nor will we ever, permit content that promotes hatred based on sexual orientation, gender identity, age, disability, gender, national or ethnic origin, race, or religion," end quote. Thompson notes that Microsoft promotes the fact that it works with government to ensure there is no place on our hosted consumer services for conduct that incites violence and hate. And perhaps that's merely the corporation trying to cover itself or protect against government attack. Or perhaps the corporation operates on the same censorious assumptions as many big government politicians. Given the final puzzle piece that Thompson provides, that latter seems most likely. Quote, "Moreover, in 2022, Microsoft released an AI-based detection system called ToxiGen, a large-scale machine-generated data set for adversarial and implicit hate speech detection." The company said, "We created ToxiGen, a new large-scale and machine-generated data set of 274,000 toxic and benign statements about 13 minority groups," end quote. Clearly, this assumptive language, this fatuous, overlording mentality that claims to have the grand insight to determine implicit hate speech. By the way, that is a double down on the already amorphous nonsense of hate speech by claiming the power to determine implicit forms of it. Well, clearly this is so Orwellian that many people might turn away from Microsoft. But of course, that brings us back to the C2PA gang mentioned at the beginning of this video. As I wrote in 2022, Microsoft is part of C2PA, along with Adobe, the BBC, Intel, and the US government's DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, to name just a few of the so-called partners. What we see with this new Microsoft terms of use change, with the incremental steps it already has taken, with the EU's DSA, and with C2PA, is an international corporate government attempt to control speech before it gets to the web. And of course, to root out any anti-establishment speech that happens to slip into the web. As I noted, that will go as deep as the microchip level, and it likely will see freedom lovers move to underground chip makers, computer builders, and programmers. What happens online since the feds claim the power to control the internet, well, that will be anyone's guess. But developments such as this ring alarm bells for many of us and tell us to prepare. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please like and subscribe. Find us on Rumble, where they don't censor us. And of course, Rumble has run into hassles with governments around the world because they want the censorship on the government side, and Rumble will not comply. Thanks for watching. Please share the videos from Rumble. Follow us there. Of course, we're still on YouTube, where they do censor us. So double check if you are subscribed there. Check to see that you're still subscribed, because magically, somehow, YouTube drops subscriptions. I don't understand why they would have the subscription button there if they drop your subscription. You can also find us at MRCTV.org. That's MRCTV.org, where the whole team can be found. And of course, you can contribute to the Media Research Center and the work of the team. And you can find the Media Research Center store. It's a very cool store. Check us out on Instagram, on TikTok, in Facebook, on X. And if you want to find me on Gab, I'm at Gardner Goldsmith on Gab, and on X, you can find me as at Gard Goldsmith. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for supporting freedom of speech. For MRC TV, I'm Gardner Goldsmith.